bum,
like
bum,
that
bum,
music.
bum 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 bum. I do too. I think we need to jazz it up with a little more like EDM vibes, though, man. We need a bass drop in there. You know, something like that. Is Graham Nose frozen?
Hold on, I'm having a little technical difficulties. Give me a second.
All right. Everyone, stop what you're doing, because I'm about to.
Oh, I think it's working now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool.
All right. We have 5 viewers. What's up, everybody? Tell us who you are in the comments. Go ahead and let us know here. We're going to get underway with week's end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to Week's End, Ryan. Yeah, and I apologize for my slight little technical delay there, but looks like I got it figured out. I just had to shut down Lotus Notes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you should never
Slack.
You should never admit to that. Okay. Well, we're all about Week's End here, folks. It's Friday afternoon, which means it's time for Ryan and your old pal here, Graham Noseworthy, to nerd out about the nerdiest things that we're loving, we're into, we're watching, we're doing this week. So let us know in the comments, though, what you're nerding out about, because we want to put your comments up on the screen, hear what you have to say about what we're going to chat about this week. And I'm just going to run through the agenda real super fast. We're going to talk about crypto today. We're going to talk about space exploration today. We're also going to talk about a sci-fi series on HBO that is also about space, but more about a alternative history of space.
And we're going to talk a little bit about SpaceX.
And SpaceX too. So it's going to be a lot of space.
Honestly, that sounded a little bit like I said SpaceX, but really I meant SpaceX and NASA. Can I start with something else?
Yes, please.
I want to start with something else. I want to start with the exciting announcement that came out this week.
Oh yeah.
That Geordi himself from the USS Enterprise and presumably other Starfleet vessels is going to be hosting Jeopardy. Now, that's LeVar Burton, of course. Now, what's exciting about this is there's been a huge petition. There's been a lot of people asking. There's been a whole bunch of energy around hoping, praying in some cases, that LeVar Burton will be the permanent replacement host for Alex Trebek, God rest him, who passed away. And of course, they've been going through all these guest hosts. I'm going to be honest with you. I think most of them are terrible. But I think LeVar Burton would be perfect.
Yeah.
He is the natural born successor, I think, to take over Jeopardy. So what I'm hoping is that he is the last guest host, is what I understand. If I'm wrong, somebody comment on that. But my understanding is he's the last guest host. And I'm kind of hoping it ends with him saying, I'm not just the last guest host, I'm also the permanent host. Because I think truly his personality, going all the way back to Reading Rainbow, Roots, Geordi, all these other things that Star Trek, all these other things that he's done over the years, I just feel that he would be an outstanding host for Jeopardy. Ryan, what do you think?
I'm all in. And I think Ryan Reynolds gave him a huge boost this week. I don't know if you saw this, amazing. But there was this incredible ad that came out either yesterday or the day before, where Ryan Reynolds was passing the baton to LeVar Burton to be the new spokesman for Aviator Jen. And of course, as all things with Ryan Reynolds, hilarity ensues, and it all sort of fell apart in the ad. And I think they're no longer working together. But I still think it gave a boost, to show that LeVar is truly a GD national treasure. As
he is a national treasure, and it's okay, dude. You can say goddamn. I'll forgive you, but because obviously, when you refer to God, that's me. So there's only one thing I don't like about LeVar Burton, and it really, really bothers me. Are you ready for this?
What's that?
With each passing day that he gets older, he gets better and better looking.
You're right about that.
Not fair. In that Aviation Gin ad, he looks amazing. Honestly, I think he looks better than it's just not fair. And somebody else posted an image to you on Twitter. If you haven't seen it, you got to see it. It's ridiculous. And it's him, and he's riding this awesome matte black motorcycle, and he's like sitting on the bike, and he's turned and looking at the camera, and it's like, how the hell is that possible? How does that man, who I'm assuming is considerably older than we are,
Yeah.
I mean, you and I are both only in our late 20s, but presumably he's older than we. Right. I'm sorry, early 30s. And he looks fantastic. So anyway, enough nerding out about LeVar Burton. LeVar, if for some bizarre reason you actually happen to see this, which I know is impossible, but the universe does weird things, and we love you, and we're so pumped that you're going to be on Jeopardy. We'll be watching. We hope you become the permanent host.
I do too. I'm looking forward to that. I, like you, have a kinship with LeVar, and he, you know what? I think, yeah, like I said, aviation gen or aviator gen. I said aviator, I think, which is wrong. Aviation gen, folks. I want to make sure we get all the Dogecoin payments for that brand mention. Let's start with Dogecoin, because I think we should spend the rest of the show on space. I just wanted to, like, I know we talked about
one word or two words. I don't even know.
I don't
know what it is.
But the Doge, the dog, the whole meme.
Oh, yeah.
It became a cryptocurrency not recently. It's been around a while, but it was really like, it was a joke, right? And so the argument now is it still a joke, or is there some legitimacy to it? Because the price of this coin has, like many of them, taken a little bit of a hockey stick up in the last couple of weeks. And the only reason I find this interesting is I sent a message because I'm trying to learn a little bit more about crypto and mining and wallets and all the things, just because I'm curious and fascinated by this space. And I'm trying to cut through the hype or the whatever of it. I asked someone that is a mutual friend of ours that writes for, I believe, Cointelegraph, the site, or, and Forbes. And her take was, it's a joke. But
really,
I will tell you this. And this is for the hardcore. I mean, there's lots of hardcore Bitcoin, folks that, are very myopically, focused on that one coin. And it a lot of times appears to me that it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy that the hype cycle is driving the interest, like all things, stocks included. But with this one in particular, I thought it would be an interesting experiment to figure out how to mine this coin. Like, literally set up a mining operation in my house with my son, who's studying computer science. So we have figured out how to I've got a bunch of Raspberry Pis sitting around, and we're going to set up a little rack, which I'll share with you on the show on a future episode. But we are mining the coins. It's, you should have much better, NVIDIA or graphics, cards that are really good. But the problem that we ran into was that when my son was tinkering, he was using his his custom gaming rig to just test out the software. And he literally burned out his graphics card in less than 24 hours. So it's a very, intense process. But I'm going to set up these little Raspberry Pis. And to me, it's like, you remember how everybody was telling you like 10 years ago to sign up for the SETI at Home project so that you could use your unused computer cycles, to search for extraterrestrial life. I think it's going to be
remember that.
It's a similar thing to that. We're going to be like earning like a penny a day or something at this point. But we're up to 5 Dogecoins now, which are worth a whopping like $2.50. So it's just an interesting, way for my son who's in college to learn not just about crypto, but about the, the blockchain and all the hash, computer science that goes into this new type of financial technology, right? This new market.
So is the is the NVIDIA card being blown out? Is that like the crypto mining version of Black Lung that people would get in the coal mines?
Yeah, I think so.
And follow-up question, are you doing the Derek Zoolander's dad thing to your son where you're like, talk to me when you've been down here for 30 years, Derek?
Exactly. Well, that, and I was like, if you just turn this thing on, my hope was you turn it on and then, 2 years from now, he can like pay off his student loans or something, right? Because we know a guy same age as him that goes to another university here in North Carolina that I guess somehow bet the farm on the GameStop, stock, the stonk, all these words, right?
It's been a long week for Ryan.
It has been a long week. But he put enough money in that to cash out at 20K last week.
Wow.
So that tells you something.
All right, what's
so
next?
it's all highly speculative. Let's talk about
as much
space.
as I'm interested in your cryptocurrency,
right?
What I really want to
I'm
talk
just
about
making
is for
myself
all
sound.
mankind.
I'm making myself sound dumb. So let's switch to something we can actually sound intelligent about.
Yeah,
which is
because Ryan,
space,
if anyone on this
history.
show is going to make themselves sound dumb, it's me. That is my job. I have one job, and it's to sound like a blithering idiot. So can you just let me do my job?
All right, I'm stepping out of the way. Go for it.
So, folks, if you have not been living in low Earth orbit or on translunar injection or at the Jamestown base or living under a rock here on planet Earth and you have not seen For All Mankind, I don't know what your problem is. You got to sign up for Apple TV. This is what was told to me by my friends. They're like, you're crazy. You got to see this show. Oh my God, is it fantastic. And the end of season 2 is today. So I'm actually going to be watching that tonight. No spoilers, please. Yeah. But this is a fantastic program. A little bit of revisionist history. It's basically based on if the Russians beat us to the moon just a couple of weeks before Apollo 11. And then it just goes on from there. But brilliant show. Takes on some really important stuff about gender equality, diversity, I mean, politics.
Marriage, everything. You got your marriage.
The show is not at all what you think it will be from the first episode. The first episode, I was like, really? Okay, this is kind of cool. I'm a super NASA Apollo buff, so I'm going to nerd out to the show. And by the second or third episode, I was like, holy shit, this is incredible. Highly, highly recommend you watch the show. Some of the stuff that I really like about it is how they show the evolution of that era's technology as we get towards space shuttle era. Like little subtle changes, like the worm logo for NASA is a little different, right. Which I thought was really clever. But they also work in a lot of real world stuff that was happening at that time, real world politicians, real world things that actually happened. Like, for example, the Korean Airlines Flight 007. I thought it was really cool how they worked that in. But I don't want to give any substantial spoilers here, just to say that if you haven't seen this show, see it and then connect with us so we can nerd out with you, because we love it. And also some really cool little things in there, like Ryan, when they were talking about the instrument unit, which is, of course, the brain of the Saturn V rocket that helped it get into orbit and position it for translunar injection. And that particular module, that ring, was contracted and built by IBM. And I thought it was really cool. Like, there was just this 2-second shot of they were projecting something up on a screen, and they actually used the IBM Apollo Saturn logo for the instrument unit that I think we created. It may have come from NASA, but my point is that they like this little teeny obscure logo that they dug out of the archives and incorporated in. Man, the attention to detail in this show is fantastic. What do you think, Ryan?
I'm with you, and I almost can't talk about it without revealing the things the things that we nerded out.
I already said too much.
Most of it, but well, there's little turns in history that make total logical sense of like what if, and some of them are bummers, right? Some of them are like people that are historical figures that, spoiler alert, die. We're not going to say who they are, but it's like takes a different path. And then the Saturn V program continues well beyond what it did in our multiverse. So it's really fun.
It is really fun, and when I think back and I look at the show that Disney Plus did last year, The Right Stuff, and it didn't get renewed. It just, at the time when I watched it, I think my desire to have something to nerd about for NASA kind of won out over the logic of the fact that it just wasn't a very well done show. I mean, it just was. It was very problematic. And I don't think that the people who really, in fact, I'm connected to some of them, some of the people who lived in that era, I don't think they liked that one very much. It was full of a lot of problems. This one is different. So I actually genuinely wonder, like, what would Deke Slayton have thought of this show? What would Neil Armstrong have thought of this show? I actually haven't checked out what Buzz thinks. I don't know if he's talked about it on his Twitter. I got to go check that out. Yeah. But this show puts a lot of them in a very different light. it's also very honest about some of them. You know, I did think it was cool that in the first 5 seconds of the first episode, they actually mentioned Poppy Northcutt. And if you don't follow Poppy on Twitter, you should. Poppy is a really famous female engineer from the Apollo era, wonderful human being. And I thought it was really cool. Like at one point they show somebody walking down the hall of mission control or the manned spaceflight center, and somebody's like, "Hey, Poppy, morning, Poppy." I think that's what they said, morning, Poppy. And, you know, dude, it's little details like that that is so cool. And some of those people that they're talking about, like these people are alive and well, right? I mean, older, sure, but still very active on social media and in that world. And I just think it's really cool to find out what they think about it. And I'd love to know what some of those original guys would have thought too. So really great show.
And yeah, it is. And I do want to come back to this. I thought we should invite our buddy Rod Pyle, the space historian / author / everything he knows, everything he's done with chronicling space history in his books. I would love to hear what he thinks of this alternative timeline, because he wrote, I know I mentioned it on a previous show, he wrote this book about, you know, judging, you know, science fiction technology and how it would really work in real life. And it's those are the fascinating twists and turns outside of the human stories, which the human stories are really strong too.
The human stories are incredibly strong. I mean, the show, it's emotional, dude. There have been times where I have been genuinely teared up watching this show, and I'm a bit of a sap anyway, but like there's some good writing going on here. So I'm excited to see how it plays out tonight. So more coming on that.
I am too. Let's talk about real life space exploration in our version of the, I guess we're in our, what are we? We're in Earth Prime or Earth One? Which multiverse dimension?
Well, what I learned this week is that Earth is the only planet capable of supporting fire. So I've decided that we are Fire Planet Prime.
Okay, we're Fire Planet Prime, everybody. But in our version of reality, there's a giant rover that's tinkering around, making its way across the landscape of Mars as we speak. And lo and behold, the Perseverance rover brought a friend named the Ingenuity Mars Helicopter. And the really cool thing that I want to hear you sort of talk more about is they've done a couple of test flights so far. One was just to see if it could survive out in the cold, right?
Yeah.
Get the rotors going, get it ready,
right.
to, go a couple of feet off the ground, something like that before they really take it further.
You know, one of the things I've always respected about NASA is slow and steady wins the race, right? I mean, they didn't drop the rover, drop the helicopter, it's not a kid on Christmas morning trying to play with all the toys simultaneously. And they've got a plan and they've got procedures, and these things take a lot of time, and I respect that. And I also respect the fact, you and I were talking a little bit about this during one of our walk and talk meetings, is like, I would love to know how this was even conceived of, because it's not like somebody rolled into the meeting when they were like, "Hey, let's have a rover," and somebody's like, "Well, I got an idea. Let's put a helicopter on Mars," because somebody would have been like, "Let me check my notes. That's ridiculous, and we're not doing it." Right. Yeah. But of course, that's not how it works, right? I mean, there are science goals and objectives, and then there are reasons for this thing. And the thing is that the atmosphere on Mars is so thin that this thing had to be designed just the design specs and learning about how they designed it and all the different tests and creating, these wind tunnels, these testing areas that had like 1% atmosphere, and it's remarkable. So when they got there, Perseverance was on the planet for a little while, and then it dropped its door. That was a good start. The belly pan, or had some name, the belly access door, something like that. And then Ingenuity was lowered, and then Perseverance moved away, and then Ingenuity spun up its propellers, and okay, that worked. Actually got a little dust on the solar panels, and then it charged. And if I'm not getting this right, you know what I'm saying. And then they did this test flight. And when you and I got up early in the morning to watch it. I was on it with some friends, and we were watching this. And at one point, they referred to it as a Wright brothers moment. Yeah. And that's not overly dramatic. That's legit. Right. Because this is the first time there has ever been powered flight on another planet. Now, I understand it's not a helicopter. It's more like a drone. I get it that it's 4 pounds and it's this relatively small thing, but that doesn't matter. It is powered flight on another planet. Ryan, I was blown away by it. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing that struck me. I'm going to tie it back to, sci-fi and toys. So I think they really went out of their way to explain that this was unique and why. And it really is fascinating. Like you said, when you think about this, the other aspect, how when you go to Target or, the toy store, and every holiday season, they're pushing the RC cars and the RC helicopters. And so there's this whole raft of RC helicopters that kids open up, and they're these little dinky things like the air hogs, right? I don't want to I don't want to crap on air hogs too much, but a lot of them, they're like made to look like some interesting thing, but quality
the flight dynamics are garbage.
Flight dynamics are not great.
Frustrating.
So you take it out of the box, you pop the battery in, you hit go as hard as you can, and it's going to smack into a tree, and literally your fun lasts for about 15 minutes. I was just looking at this copter and thinking it looks a lot like one of those. However, and so you start to think, how fragile is this, or what's going to happen if it comes down on a rock or whatever. But that's the part of the science is I was reading about the open source software, that went into designing and operating this. So that, the digital side of experimenting with this flight, it's not just the physical copter, the physical object, but all of the flight mechanics of fly by wire from Earth. I mean, it's amazing stuff.
It truly is. And, I bought not that long ago a remote control airplane. I've been a kite flyer since I was a little kid. I'm fascinated by flight. I would love someday, if I ever had the money, to become a pilot. It's not a priority for me because kids, but someday I would like to be a pilot. And I went out and I bought this remote control airplane. I was like, oh, I could do this. And it wasn't that expensive. It was like an entry level one. Had a really good controller, and I did they had a simulator. I practiced on a simulator, believe it or not. Went out to this gigantic field, flew this thing around, no problem. Flying it around, getting used to its flight dynamics, really super cool. Many levels above air hogs, if you follow me.
Sure.
Smashed it into a tree.
I know, right?
and now it's downstairs, hasn't flown again. I flew it once.
We did the same thing.
Like, let's take the airplane back out. And I'm just like too dejected to fly it. So I did think the same thing. I was like, what's going to happen to this thing? But, that's where slow and steady wins the race, right? That's where NASA, because they went up, I think it was 20 feet and came back down. And like, you've seen the pictures of it. There's an animation. You can even see a little bit of Martian dust blowing when the rotating or rotors kick on, and just amazing stuff.
So I have an idea for you, and maybe for me as well, because I had the same aspirations of becoming a pilot. I had delusions of grandeur when I was in junior high of becoming, Tom Cruise and flying off a Tomcat off a aircraft carrier, right?
Dude, I met with Air Force recruiters. I was like this close, but
and I was even inspired. My 10th grade history teacher, her son was literally flying off a carrier in the Gulf during the first Gulf War, and I was like, I want to be that guy,
I bet.
But here's where we might have a way. Hear me out. They're sending an all civilian crew in the Dragon for a ride. Why can't that be us?
I don't see why not.
I mean, it looks like they're flying it. It looks like they're like, we've looked at the suits. The suits are incredible. We've looked at the cockpit.
And we both know we would look great in those suits. The cockpit is just touch screens.
Yeah, it looks like it's straight out of a Netflix film, the way that they've beautifully designed this environment. And lo and behold, like, not many flights later, after testing the Dragon and reusing them, they've reused a Dragon and a Falcon rocket this week, by the way. They're getting ready to send up 4 civilians, which is just
no, they went up this morning. They're up there. So they launched this morning, and it was a beautiful launch. The SpaceX Crew too on board the Dragon. It was interesting. I was thinking today about how claustrophobic. Now I understand they train this out of astronauts, but think about it. Do you think you could sit inside a Mercury capsule right now? No. I mean, first, I understand we're probably too big anyway, but the point from the claustrophobic standpoint, I mean, a Mercury capsule, you're not really getting in it so much as you're wearing it. It's essentially almost like a gigantic spacesuit. Gemini capsule, whew, man, tight fit. Apollo capsule, tight fit. Now, once you get into orbit and you can move around with the lunar module and everything, okay, fine, but tight fit. Space shuttle, nope, it's like a bus in space. But the Crew Dragon doesn't look like that to me. It looks, I understand the screens are right there, but it look like there's just something that's very like anybody could get in that thing and go feeling to it. Now, I'm not saying that's accurate. I understand these people train for their lives. These are not just, Tom, Dick, and Harry getting in this thing and going. But you're right. It does almost feel like Ryan and Graeme can go. Now, here's why that's important, is because commercial space flight, which is becoming stunningly common, right, and just accepted as like, this is how we do it now, which is fine, is starting to feel real enough that it does feel like there's a future, maybe in ours, maybe in a future generation, where normal people can just, are not normal people, but sort of civilian people can actually go to space. It's starting to feel like that's actually, when you looked at Mercury or Gemini or Apollo or Space Shuttle, like we all had those dreams. I mean, I saw Space Camp when I was a kid, Max in space, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to go. But like, we all knew that was never going to be a reality. The astronauts were these untouchable figures where it's 1 in 6 billion that you're going to become an astronaut, right? But it's actually starting to feel a little bit more like, maybe we could do this someday. So I love it. It was a beautiful launch this morning. The crew is going up for 6 months on board the International Space Station. I would go in a heartbeat. I know that'll never happen, but I legitimately would, even if it was like I had to train.
Wait a sec. Hang on. I've got a really cool picture. Man. I've got a really cool picture of the folks from, I don't know if you saw my tweet. I'm going to bring it up real quick. There was a really nice, I just thought, I'd never seen a photo like this of astronauts, so I want to put it up on the screen real quick.
I know the photo you're talking about. And while you're putting it up, you want to know why I like it? Because it's real people.
Yeah, totally.
It's real people. Now, I know astronauts are real people, but what I'm saying is, and you and I talked about this week, is that you can get overly conservative with your brand and it leads to a stuffy feeling. This is real people. Look at how happy they are. Look at how they look like people we all know. I understand they're all career astronauts. Look at how comfortable they are throwing up the peace sign. Look at the arm. I mean, it's just, the way Aki is standing there, it's just it's just beautiful. So, and
so here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Jesus, the suits are
badass. I got to apologize because I guess I flubbed. I didn't realize when I saw the prep. I didn't realize this was the civilian crew. I thought they were next. So my bad. But when I saw this picture, when I saw this picture, I was like, "You've never seen a NASA photo like that." You know what I mean? And that's
but go read their backgrounds. I mean, that this is the thing that I'm saying is like the crew that went up the last time you and I talked. These are experienced NASA astronauts. I don't know the background for these ones. I'm talking about the last set.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it doesn't matter. No matter what, you're right. These are just civilian. I mean, I don't know, man. The whole thing just makes me very happy.
All right. I think we're going to wrap with your rant of the week.
Well, wait a minute. Let me check. Because didn't we have something else we were supposed to cover? Let's see here. I thought we did. Let's see. We did.
Did we mess up the agenda again?
No, we didn't. So so you know what?
Is there a guest waiting backstage? I didn't know.
No. Okay. So let me go, because I have been on a build up to this rant of the week all week.
Okay.
I am absolutely fired up. So here it comes. The thing is, Ryan, is I am really upset.
Whoa. Okay. I feel like we've had too many Graeme rants. We've gotten some feedback that Graeme rants have become like a thing, and they'd like to hear what gets Ryan angry, what gets RAB ranting. So I don't know if you're RAB rant. I think it's time for our first ever, ladies and gentlemen. It only took 43 episodes to get to this point, but we have our first ever RAB rant of the week. Okay. So as you all know, I got a teenager in my house who's graduating. He's trying to decide where to go to school. This afternoon, the reason, I look all hot and, slightly sunburned on one side of my face is I was sitting in traffic for damn near 3 hours today, just so that I could drive 30 miles from my house to go see the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, which I don't like anyway. I'll tell anybody, go to hell, Carolina. We're the red and white from NC State. Go Wolfpack, right? However, my son, he's gotten into both of these prestigious schools, and he's having a really hard time deciding engineering, math, whatever it is he wants to do, business, right? They're both wonderful schools. We get there, Franklin Street. Oh my God, just traffic. So one thing I have learned is that because we've been trapped in our house, and we haven't been going anywhere. We've been in quarantine. We've been in isolation. We've been in remote work. We've been in hashtag WFH. I was like, yes. WTF. The traffic was so horrible going from Chapel Hill to Wake Forest, North Carolina, that I'm like, I'm ready to move to Montana. Like, I'm ready. Forget it. I don't want to go back to the office. And that is the primary reason, is that this afternoon was such a waste of time, other than getting to see that beautiful, beautiful campus and spend time with my son, which frankly made it all worthwhile. But there you go, folks.
All right. Well, that was very exciting. I'm very proud of you. 43 episodes in, you finally got a RAB rant in. That's wonderful. So I'm sorry you had to sit in traffic.
I don't know if that's rant worthy, but I'm just saying.
I'm not so sure it is. I'm trying to decide that over here.
You're trying to decide if it was.
I've got this wonderful son who's been accepted to schools, and I have the means to go around.
I know. It's my
rants are cheeky and stupid. Your rants are privileged and
okay. Well, let's talk about chopping people's heads off to end the show. Mortal Kombat. We talked about this. It's coming. There's a new feature film. I loved the films back in the 90s.
It's available today.
Yeah, it's available today. They went back to the original title, and it looks really slick. I've heard that it's good. I've heard that it's great. I've heard that it's very graphic. So it's like, can you watch it with your kids? They're saying no. However, that became a meme. There's memes all over Twitter today of kids trying to get a ticket to get in. You know, like three kids in the trench coat with a wig on or something, that kind of thing.
So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited about this film. I'm going to be doing a watch party tomorrow night for it. I think that they going gory and kind of having it over the top was the right thing. Like they didn't try to take it too seriously. I think it's great. I think there are planned sequels. I regularly play Mortal Kombat on Antstream Arcade on my Atari VCS. And my go-to character is Sub-Zero. Who's your go-to character?
You know what? Mine a lot of times is Scorpion. So I think we need a battle royale here on week's end.
We should see if we can figure out a way to play Sub-Zero.
We'll pull. We can pull that in. There's got to be a way to go. That's our challenge. We either need to plug your VCS or my PlayStation Mini into our Twitch stream and have a fun episode coming up. So stay tuned for that,
totally
folks.
Down with that. That would be so much fun.
All right, everybody.
I usually play with this guy Kevin that I went to high school with, and I regularly embarrass Kevin by absolutely kicking his ass in ways that's not even funny. I mean, whether it's Mortal Kombat or X-Men or anything like that, I mean, it's just absolutely
all of those. I wasn't that into Mortal Kombat.
Kevin wins every single time.
But I love, Dead or Alive. I love Street Fighter. I love, all of the old fighting games. King,
Oh hell yeah!
All those are just.
But dude, Mortal Kombat, especially on Sega, Mortal Kombat was like, there were whole parties around.
Right.
Like that's what we did. Like we would all do some other things and then play Mortal Kombat.
Right. Well, I was meaning to ask you.
Really terrible at it. I mean, I'm still really awful at it. Like painfully bad.
I was meaning to ask you, 420 was this week, but I heard it was also Earth Day this week. So I'm just wondering, which one did you celebrate? Okay, Earth Day.
We'll just go with Earth Day.
Got it. Okay, I'm going to use my new official Star Trek wristband to disengage from this live stream and wish everybody well. We'll see you.
Whoa. What the hell is that? I need to see that.
This is a Star Wars. You can see the Rebel insignia on there. Power band of some kind, and you see it's got the nice glowing ring.
Dude, why? Where did you get this thing? Why have you not sent me the link?
So I had to import this from Japan. But it does wireless control by waving your hand of a Sphero Star Wars droid. So it can control the R2-D2 or the BB-8 or they put out the black version of BB-8, the evil version of BB-8 from whatever.
Okay. All right. That sounds a little bit like Lucas.
I know, right? So
this is just, an evil BB-8 is a great idea.
This is just a really fancy looking bracelet that lets you look like you're using the Force. You're
so trendy,
as you do.
All right, now you can end the show. All
right, folks. Peace out. We'll see you next Friday. Maybe we'll have a guest. Stay tuned.
Maybe you want to be that.